Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today, a very serious one that you have perhaps by now had heard about, but unfortunately when this first occurred, very few people had heard about it because, of course, in our political climate, in our current cultural war, this particular outline and this particular scenario was not being covered by the mainstream media for many reasons. And of course, now as we're seeing Donald Trump, when starting out with the federalization there in D.C. and wanting to continue this in cities, the Democrats have now turned what appears to be them defending criminals to then spite Donald Trump, because this is the continuing battle, the continuing defiance of Donald Trump. But I'm bearing the lead here. So, suspect in fatal stabbing of Ukrainian woman on Charlotte train faces federal charge, possibly death penalty from the Department of Justice. Well, here's the thing. It's after the fact, right? And there's much debate on how she could have protected herself and ways she could have protected herself in an area that is a gun-free zone. And so these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. So the primary thing is, why was someone like this out on the streets to begin with? So Decarlos Brown Jr, 34, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for fatally stabbing 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska on a Charlotte light rail train. Brown, a homeless man with schizophrenia and a history of 14 arrests, was freed without bail following an arrest earlier in the year, despite the extensive criminal and mental health background. So here we have a situation where you have to ask yourselves, okay, what is going on where these individuals, 14 arrests, was freed without bail? And of course, he has other additional crimes. How are we, as any individual, a rational, cogent, common sense thinking person, going to say, oh, well, I kind of agree with what the Democrats are saying here with cashless bail in these particular situations, because it doesn't make sense? And then we went from these stories being something like, oh, that's far right or right, to now it's all MAGA. Well, no, it's common sense people asking these questions. And it's not about any political alignment. And in this video, I'm not going to show any pictures or video of the particular situation or circumstances. So I had to work very hard to find these particular articles with the least amount of particular disturbing footages, because, of course, we're covering here on YouTube. And, of course, we want to be respectful for the situation. So we know the man is facing federal charges. And then we see here the federal charges comes aimed growing questions about why Decarlos Brown Jr. was on the street despite 14 prior criminal arrests before he was accused of pulling out a knife and killing 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska in an apparent random attack captured on video. So we have all of this going on, and it's still being, made somewhat slightly political. And here we have from 101.5, Charlotte leaders criticized over killing of Ukrainian woman as Trump MAGA target another dim city. Look, Donald Trump says that he's a law and order president, and he wants to bring law and order, and he's demonstrated that in D.C. And even the people in D.C. are appreciative of what he has done, even some on the left. Now, many of them don't want to come out and say it, because obviously they're on team left, but from what we're seeing and the indications, the people there are, even Mayor Bowser is in alignment with Donald Trump. So officials in Charlotte are facing sharp criticism over the fatal stabbing of a young Ukrainian refugee on a commuter train last month, a killing that quickly drew the attention of President Donald Trump and MAGA allies, who blame Democrats for what they say is out-of-control crime in blue cities. I think any rational, common-sense person would ask this question. What is going on? Why did this happen? How could this have been prevented? That's what a normal, common-sense person would. Why does it have to be MAGA? Why does it have to be the far right? How about just common sense thinking people? Critics say the death of Iryna Zarutska, 23, could have been prevented, and they're blaming officials for failing to keep a man with a history of mental illness, arrest, and erratic behavior off the streets before he killed her. Trump wrote on a social media platform on Monday that criminals like this need to be locked up. Remember what happened to Daniel Penny? Remember Daniel Penny? We covered Daniel Penny here, who was trying to, they were trying to, detain a mentally ill person on the train. And unfortunately, that individual died. And Daniel Penny had to go through a trial where he was later found not guilty of criminal negligence and these sorts of things, because it's like, well, how do you defend yourself? Because like we were saying earlier, this is a crime-free or a gun-free zone. So how could we have anticipated any of these people on this train to have really done anything to help this young woman too? And it's just tragic. It's a situation and a circumstance where the criminal had all the advantage, is basically that. And then when it comes to my thoughts on what's going on with the National Guard and so forth, and that is, or our philosophy here on the BuzWeaver channel so far, some of you may or may not agree with it, but the point being here is, until the criminals are just as frightened as the victim, then these crimes will continue. Until the criminals feel as vulnerable and in danger as a victim, these types of crimes will continue. So having those National Guard out there is a presence. It's a deterrent. It's out there to help. I don't know. No one knows whether or not that would have helped in this situation or in this circumstance. But why can we not try? Why can we not try what Donald Trump is presenting? It's absurd, because when it comes to Democrats, everything has to be in defiance of Donald Trump. I've seen the horrific video of a young, beautiful woman, or I've seen the horrific video of a beautiful young Ukrainian refugee who came to America to escape the vicious war in Ukraine and was innocently riding the metro in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she was brutally ambushed by a mentally deranged lunatic. The perpetrator was a well-known career criminal who had been previously arrested and released on cashless bail in January, a total of 14 times. What the hell was going on riding the train and walking? What the hell was he doing riding the train and walking the streets? Criminals like this need to be locked up. The blood of this innocent woman can literally be seen dripping from the killer's knife, and now her blood is on the hands of the Democrats who refuse to put people in jail, including former disgraced governor and wannabe Senator Roy Cooper. And of course, that's Trump talking about the situation and the circumstance. But let me know down in the comments section, when did you first hear about this? And did you have it on your local news? Did you have it on mainstream media? Did you have to go to social media to find out about it? Or are you hearing about it now on my channel for the very first time? Let me know down in the comments. And of course, guys, thank you so much for your continued support here across New Tech. That's BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. And you guys have been amazing. And I appreciate everything you guys do to help out the channel. Here we have on X, of course. You can follow me there, as you can see the links down below in the description area, as well as my affiliate marketing links. But of course, guys, your help is as easy as liking and sharing the content. So I thank you so much here in 2025. What a tragic story about this young woman who escaped Ukraine to come here for her safety. And this incident happened to her. It's very shameful. It's heartbreaking to see it. But I did want to talk about it as carefully and as dignified as possible, considering the circumstances and the videos and the pictures and the images that are out there, and the politicizing and the culture war that this is surrounding, or surrounds this story. But here we have it, this situation. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much for your continued support. Appearing there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube, that's going to be the channel icon here, the avatar. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.